It's episode 4, yeah, it's episode 4, yeah,
It started back in 94 on the east coast of the States. Ultraviolet Philadelphia, gorilla had never been in LA. A big no harbor vacancy, full of heart, a breath of fresh air from this industry. You've heard of the punks, the dragons, the heroes, they all get through the scene.
Hello world and all who inhabit it, welcome to episode 4 of Hooligans Unite. My name is Ruby. Some people call me Rubes. I think somebody's called me Rubert before. I don't know where they came up with that, but thank you so much for joining me. Sorry that this video was kind of a little bit on the later side. I edited this myself because I was kind of waiting till the last minute. I had a lot of things going on this week. So if things kind of jumble around, it's because of that, and also because my dog was rather talkative on this interview. We have a very exciting interview for you today, but before we get to that, just wanted to remind you guys that we still have the Hooligans Help the Trevor Project fundraiser going for just a few more days. This Friday we will be doing that raffle, and I will post the video as to who won. We also have the Hooligans Help the Best Friends Animal Society fundraiser going on, and that one will be done at the end of this month. The drawing for that will be done as well. Do not forget the amazing prizes that you can win. If you donate $20 or more, you can win a exclusive Hooligans Unite t-shirt saying I paid my dues on the back, as well as a signed 8x10 of yours truly and a personalized message, or a personalized message and this beauty right here for the Hooligans Help the Trevor Project fundraiser. The one for the Best Friends Animal Society will be done very soon, and I will be showing you guys that. But now we're on to the exciting business. My guest today, he's a man of many hats. He is a writer, he is a director, he is an actor, he's a wrestler, he's a comedian, he is an artist, he is so many things. And he is, more importantly, a very close friend of mine, and I'm so grateful to have him on the show. He's the person that introduced me to Dogs Without Borders, which we will be matching the donations for the Best Friends Animal Society fundraiser, and matching that to go to them. He does it all, and you'll be hearing all about his activities and everything that he's involved in this interview. So please welcome my guest, Ryan Nemeth. Hey everybody, look, it's Ryan Nemeth.
Oh
Hi, buddy.
God.
How are you?
I'm on the screen with you. That's
You're
awesome.
on the screen, 15, side by side. I think.
Wow.
I hope that it records that way, because.
Ruby, Riot, and Ryan.
Yep.
A lot of R's.
Yeah, so many R's. So many R's. But all the best things start with R.
Wrestling starts with R.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Writing. Everything that's good starts with R.
No. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. You are our second guest ever in the world. And
Wow.
I always get really nervous to do this because I am usually the interviewer, so I always want to make sure I do an okay job. But it makes it easier when I do it with my friends. So thank you so much for being here.
I am very happy and honored that you asked me. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So I start off all of my interviews, or I start off one interview rather, with my friends with how did we meet? Do you remember?
Well, let's see. I have a few. Maybe in Cleveland, an AIW wrestling show? No?
Nope.
Kentucky? No. Is it anything to do with wrestling? It has to be.
Yes.
Give me a clue.
There's a place with a lot of chickens in the parking lot.
Oh, Ybor City wrestling Shine?
Fine. Yes.
Shine, right, okay, yeah, a lot of chickens. Damn, dude.
A bunch of you guys came to see the show, and that was originally where we first met. We were introduced by our good friend Josette Bynum.
Oh, yeah, Josie, that's right. Something people don't know about Tampa is that there are feral chickens running all around the city.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. They're like cats, but chickens.
Yeah. I remember when I lived there, I was driving down a street one day near my house, and I saw one just walking on the sidewalk, this big fat chicken. And so I parked my car and got out and started walking behind him, sort of. This is kind of weird of me, but I didn't know that they lived around there. I thought this was a lost chicken farm.
Aww.
And he looked back at me, and I tailed him for a block or two, and then he just dove into some bushes, and I lost him. And I thought, what a weird thing. And then, of course, I realized there's chickens everywhere.
Yeah. I didn't know that was. I knew that it was like an Ybor City kind of thing, because every time we would go out in the parking lot for Shine, there was always just chickens in the parking lot. But I did not know it was an entire Tampa thing, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Everywhere. Wow.
And that's the kind of stuff that you can expect during this interview. It's just marveling at feral.
Absolutely. So I think we'll start off. You wear many hats, all of the hats, I feel like. And we'll start with the writing/directing hat that you wear. I have come to learn that your first dabble into writing directing was a short film called Daddy's Boy.
Oh, what you got there?
It's a book. I was reading the words on the page with my eyes. The words are written on the page.
Cool.
Charlotte, this is Teddy, my brother. By the way, also fully human.
I'm sorry, what?
Boys, the doctor is in.
Charlotte, this is my father, my actual biological father, Tom.
That's Dr. Tom to you, buddy.
So, what kind of doctor are you?
Why don't we all have a drink?
Good idea. I'll get us some drinks. In containers. To drink with our mouths. That's how all humans talk, and that's what we are. It's not like we were built in a lab or anything.
No, I liked it a lot. And I also read that it debuted at the 42nd annual Cleveland International Film Festival.
Yeah, that was a really proud moment. That's that I didn't know a lot about film festivals at the time, and that is a major one, which is cool because I'm from Cleveland, and to have an international film festival in your hometown it was cool. I didn't know it until high school. I was an intern for them my senior year. I interned for the Cleveland Film Festival and thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I just always kept up with that. You know, when I go do it, when I can, I would go do it. And to submit it there and get in and have that be the first place that it premiered was very, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's so cool.
And my brother was in it.
Yes, you both were hilarious. It was so funny. I loved it.
Very proud of that thing, yeah.
The link will also be down below for that if you guys want to check it out. It is definitely worth it.
Wow, that's great. More people need to see that.
They really do. I'm very upset that it took me this long to see it. So.
Well, yeah, it's okay. In these uncertain times, it's good to have things to laugh at, you know? Now more than ever.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So the thing that I'm the most excited to talk to you about, tell me and tell the people at home about Heel.
All right. Heel is going to be, so like if Daddy's Boys was like step one, Heel is like way up here. What a leap I've made. It's a crowdfunded film that I use social media and all types of grassroots methods to fund. I'm talking like phone calls, text messaging, like direct emails to thousands of people like you helping out and spreading the word on Twitter and Instagram. And literally you have pledged a giant amount to the movie and you are one of the producers of the film. I hope that's not a big secret.
No, it's not. I'm so excited about it.
You are a producer of this movie, yeah. So the idea came a couple of years ago when I was, you know, among other things in my life, still involved in wrestling and kind of got really, am I allowed to say bad words on your show?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, you said no, but then you said yes.
Yeah, no, I'll leave you. Don't worry.
I was a little angry.
Is that a bad
That's the bad word. No, okay. In all seriousness, I was very upset about a lot of things I've been finding out about independent wrestling involving sexual predators or assault and all types of violence against women, basically. And it kind of turned me off to shows and companies around here. And that, okay, so that was a really upsetting moment in the life that kind of branched off into some positive things, because I started then running my own charity wrestling show, co-produced, mostly produced by women, and we would raise money for things like victims of sex trafficking or dog charities, like any number of things, in which I just wanted to stop wrestling for people that I thought were scumbags and start using wrestling as a way to help inject positivity into the world and better things. So I wanted to give women and people a more diverse roster of wrestlers, somewhere to wrestle where they felt safe and not like they're going to be victim number 27 with this promoter or whatever. And Heel was inspired by that. So I wrote a little script and developed it and found a director who is on her way to becoming like a big deal director. Damn, Maggie Levin directed Heel, and she's doing the new Labyrinth movie. She just did My Valentine for Hulu and Blumhouse. She's like a powerhouse, so to have her involved is pretty huge. And we crowdfunded this in a month's time, raised like $65,000 from just, and the average donation I think was like 10 or 15 bucks. So there's a lot of people chipping in money to make this movie happen. So in a way, I'm making this movie, but in a way, like 800 people are making this movie, sort of. So yeah, and we made a pledge to have 80% of the cast and crew be women or people of color. Just another way that I wanted to, I don't know, you know the deal. Like, wrestling is dominated by guys who look like me but with bigger muscles. So why not open the world up a little bit? Yeah, so it's almost done. We're like this close, fine-tuning like the sound mix and the score and everything. But I've been watching, and I showed you some stills from it, so you know at least like the look of what's happening. But it's a story that deals with indie wrestling and sexual assault, and it's a conversation that has not really been talked about at all until this past month, really.
I think it's awesome what you're doing, and I think that it's very important to hear from a male perspective that does support women in issues like these, because when you have men with kind of outdated perspectives, they're not going to listen to women. They're going to listen to another man. So having advocates like you that are, you know, organizing movies like these, casting movies like these with your directors and everything, and doing stuff like Nuclear Heat, which was the promotion that you were talking about, is really awesome, like creating a safe space for women to just be able to do what we love to do. And it's awesome to see something where you are shedding light on a part of wrestling that most people don't know about. And I think it's very important to educate people in that part and that aspect of wrestling. And I think it's very cool what you're doing, and I'm very excited.
Well, this is exciting. I love hearing everything you just said. It's pretty exciting. And it's cool. You know, okay, so like you said, it's nice to have a man or a male voice getting involved in this. I felt that way, but I also felt like I don't want to be the director of this film saying, here's the feminist movie about wrestling, directed by me, a guy. Of course not. So Maggie's like a great friend of mine, and she is an amazing director, and I love the way that everything she makes looks. It looks like very rock and roll and like kind of dirty and rugged and visceral, and I thought that is the kind of feel that I want this to. The script always felt to me like a horror script a little bit, and she vibed with that big time. So I think having it presented to an audience from a woman's eye was very important to me. So yeah, you know, hopefully people like it.
So when is this? Do you have a premiere date set yet?
Well, we, as most of the world has experienced, we're going through some strange delays with everything. I've submitted it to a bunch of film festivals and gotten into some of them, but I'm like thinking of maybe holding back and withdrawing a little bit until the next season, because people can't go in person to see this, and that kind of spoils the whole fun of why we even made this thing. Streaming online is okay. I might do a thing where like a lot of the people who pledged high amounts will give a secret link or something. But film festivals will be where it premieres, and I think until they start happening in person again, maybe there's a little delay. So to be determined, I guess.
So I do have a question.
All right.
I read a little bit about a book that you wrote among many of your books called Damn, Why Did I Write This Book?
Wow, a lot of people don't know about that. That was a sleeper.
Yeah.
To be very honest, Damn, Why Did I Write This Book is JTG's story of WWE, and I just helped edit it with him for a few months. And his saga with Chad Gaspard, it's a really funny book. It's just a collection of stories of them wrestling and him getting heat or in trouble due to his tag team partner for his entire life, and just the various ways that he was embarrassed by Chad's behavior, I guess, it was very fun to read that. Damn, Crime Time was a huge part of Nuclear Heat, so that was pretty cool. Those shows were very fun. As we all know, had a very popular but brief couple of runs in WWE, but they were so humble and cool and down to do anything on those charity shows, which a lot of other people, even with less acclaim than they have, would, you know how wrestlers will big league you sometimes or be like, well, how much money? But these guys, I would literally get a text from Chad that would say, I'm way off topic now, sorry, but I remember getting texts from him, and he'd be like, your brother helped me out when I was first starting out. Whatever you need, we'll be there. And they were there. They would always do every one of those shows and be the biggest, like, people would go insane. It was a crowd of people who didn't know wrestling, you know?
Right.
Like, it would be a rock and roll venue, West Coast kind of. What do you say?
Sometimes those are the best crowds.
Oh, I thought they were always, but yeah, because everything was brand new to them. So someone does a body slam, they're like losing their minds. So when Crime Time came out, just doing their whole thing, the place would go insane every time. Like, they were the biggest stars of the night every show. It was great. I don't know if I answered your question, but I just
yes, you did. It segued perfectly into talking a little bit more about Nuclear Heat and how you got your involvement into that. From what I have seen, you guys were able to raise some money for My Refuge House, the LA Cat Club, and Dogs Without Borders.
Dogs Without Borders, yeah. And it was really important for me to have those shows not be me, like, banking off of them. I didn't want to have these shows be, like, how I'm making a living. I wanted the money that we raised to go to good causes. And also, important for Nuclear Heat, from my point of view, just like the movie, I didn't want it to be run by me. I had a hand in, you know, like, and we're going to do more shows coming up, but Anna Laurie was the main producer of those shows, which was kind of cool to have. So when people come to me and say, what should I do about this match? I'm like, well, actually, she's in charge of the show, sorry. So that was kind of a funny thing. But again, I wanted things be presented through woman's eyes, woman's authority, because it's just something that's lacking in wrestling all around, I think. Dogs Without Borders, as you probably know, because I sent you a lot of material on them. They are based in LA, and we did a fundraiser for them, and some of those people are great friends of mine. They are primarily, when people ask me about dog rescues or adopting dogs, I refer them to Dogs Without Borders. They help thousands of dogs find homes. They do something crazy, which is rescue dogs from meat festivals in Asia, which I don't know anyone else in America that does that. Maybe there are, but that's so specific and so far away. And yeah, they just are the main Los Angeles, West Coast. I think other states, like, they're very popular and they're very good at what they do, and they place a lot of dogs. Yeah. So I was happy to help them out. Yeah.
So for anybody who's watching, our Hooligans Help fundraiser that we're doing is helping the Best Friends Animal Society, but the entire fundraiser, as soon as we are finished with the fundraiser, whatever we raise for the Best Friends Animal Society, we are matching for Dogs Without Borders.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that. That's amazing. That's great news.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's so cool.
Them, I looked them up, and they are really, really remarkable. They're awesome people. doing some amazing things and finding homes for dogs that need them. So it's very important.
That is so nice. Thank you. They're going to be so psyched about that. Damn, that's great. That is really nice. This is like the Oprah show when someone like tries nice things.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to see where we get to go. I loved how you worked nuclear heat because it is very similar to what we're doing here with Hooligans Unite. With each month, we are finding a new charitable nonprofit organization to work with and trying to raise money and just, use wrestling in a positive way, which I think just needs to happen more often. And, especially right now, how everything's going, we need to shed a positive light on wrestling and what it has the capability of being.
Wrestlers are very, if I want to paint them with a broad stroke here, pretty self-centered people, and even the most charitable wrestler is still a lot. Why did you start wrestling? Because you want to be in front of people getting cheered or booed, So it's really nice to see a lot of top talent people, and Ms. WrestleMania herself, Ruby Riott, giving some attention and some help and some money in places that deserve it. It's awesome. I really like that. Even, I will say, between you and me, my brother even did something nice recently, which is so surprising. I don't want to be, he's cocky and arrogant and the epitome of I matter and nobody else does. But he did that fundraiser with the heel pride t-shirts, which you helped out with. Thank you. But even that whole thing, I was like, this is insane. Even this guy is doing it. It is a nice wave that seems to be coming over wrestling, where people are starting to care about other people for once. Nice.
I did see, Alan, that you have managed to raise $2,500 for the CPE.
Yeah, we were able to do that. And there was one anonymous donor who reached out to me and said, I don't want anyone to know who I am, but I'm going to match the next however many shirts. And he single-handedly pitched in $500, which is cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had an anonymous donor who matched and donated $500, so that bumped it up a lot. That's a significant amount of money, so that was cool. That's a great organization, the Center for Black Equity. You gotta research and read all about these places, because I don't know if you've been, I think I maybe at some point in my life I've tried to raise money for a group that you later find out is just some big scam, and you're like, oh God, what have I done, So we were very thorough this time, yeah.
That's the scary part about doing these things, especially, if you're doing nuclear heat and Hooligans Unite. That's why I'm trying. I've used, an organization that I've been working with called Punk Rock Saves Lives.
Yeah, I saw that
recently, and kind of reaching out as an outlet for nonprofit organizations that they know and they trust to try, which is also why I reached out to you about Dogs Without Borders, because it's just, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that use, the kindness of strangers to their own benefit, and it's
definitely,
it's very disheartening. But there are some really amazing organizations out there that do not get the attention that they deserve, and I think, once we find those, it's very important for us to.
Yeah, and I like to think that the cream rises to the top. I don't know if that's the right expression, but the ones that are good and doing good things and not ripping people off, they stick around, and the other ones kind of come and go. So that's good when you find them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to kind of segue into your other hat that you wear while we're talking about Dogs Without Borders.
All right.
You have some very, very impressive artwork that you're doing right now at Ryan Paints Dogs.
Yeah.
What got you started? Did you start doing that when you were younger, or what got you started in that?
Okay, I'll tell you everything. Since I was a little kid, I just liked drawing. I didn't talk very much. I was very shy. Some people think I'm lying when I say this. I was very afraid of everything, didn't talk to anyone, kept to myself, and just drew pictures all day. And maybe around 7th or 8th grade is when I started developing a personality and being maybe a tad obnoxious. But yeah, so I was an art student originally in college. I've always, it's always been a part of my life. Actually, when I started wrestling, I kind of stopped drawing and painting and everything. And then just a few years ago, recently, I rediscovered that and discovered that I love painting dogs so much. So I use ink and watercolors, and I make custom portraits for people. And it's so weird that you brought that up, because I have one I'm working on right now, right here.
Wow. Oh.
So this is most of the ink is done on this. I'll do a little bit more, and then I'll add some watercolor, and then touch up with some more ink, and then yeah, it's really fun. The sad part is that a lot of these portraits are for dogs who have died, which is a bummer, but it helps give the owner some peace of mind and remember them.
Yeah.
Doing a piece for BB Rexa, the pop singer.
Wow.
Probably not the kind of music you listen to. I don't imagine, but that's cool. That's a nice little thing.
That's so cool. Yeah, I know you did a piece for me, actually.
Right. Yeah.
Barney and Hoovie. Yeah, you are very, very, very talented.
Thank you. Well, I saw your dogs, and I think you're a cool person. So usually people are ordering these and paying for them, and other times I just want to do them. Damn, I hope I didn't make you pay for those. If I did, they should refund you.
Anyway.
Oh, no. Well,
they were worth it. They were worth every penny. They're hanging up in my.
Listen, I'll do another one for free. But yeah, I love dogs, man. You love dogs, you get it. They're something really special, and they're like little people with no clothes.
They're to me, they're better than people, because they love, without question, and they're innocent, and they're sweet, and they just want to be loved. And while mine drive me insane, I love them so much. So it's very cool to see what you're doing with those paintings.
Thank you. Well, listen, right? I never wanted to work at a bank or have a 9-to-5 job or anything like that. That's why I was drawn to wrestling, part of it. And right now my life is obviously not full-time wrestling at all, but I don't have like a job. I mean, I have a lot of different things I do, and I enjoy that. Every day is different, and I'm at least a little bit successful in all those areas. So hang up,
And everything that you do, and that's one thing I definitely admire about you, is everything that you do is a different form of creative expression, which I think is very cool to see someone who is such a wide variety of things that they are actually very good at, and that they put their all into in every form of artistic expression. So I think it's very cool to see that.
Well, thanks. That's really nice. I often don't fit the stereotype of any of these things, which surprises some people sometimes. But I win them over.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, and like, art is art, and there being a stereotype for any particular kind of artist, to me, isn't real life. Like, if you have somebody who loves something and wants to express it in a specific kind of way, and what they look like, what they sound like, where they come from, none of that matters. It's just,
damn, you're dropping big pearls of wisdom right now.
That's just my opinion. So another one of your forms.
That was like a graduation speech. You need to save that and transcribe it.
I'll write it down somewhere. Maybe I'll use it one day. Another one of your artistic expression outlets, you do a lot of acting, I've seen.
Yes, I do.
I've seen a couple things that you've been a part of. A film called When I Wanted to Die.
Oh yeah, that's very serious.
Consent, Bro.
I love that. I love that one so much.
As well as alongside SmackDown's own John Morrison, Boone the Bounty Hunter. I've seen part of that, which is very cool. Also, I've seen you've been on Jimmy Kimmel. I feel like I didn't know this, and I've seen like pictures of you next to like the Jimmy Kimmel Live sign. But for some reason, I need to hear about this.
Oh, I'll tell you. Maybe less glamorous than you're imagining, but I think it's awesome. when I first moved here, I was going on just kind of random auditions for things, and I went and auditioned for, I think, something to do with like a iPhone repair service. Is in some non-union commercial. I just like showed up for it, and I don't think I got it, or maybe I got it. I don't remember. It was some small, low-paying thing that nobody saw if I got it. But the person who did the casting for that, like 3 years later, texted me and said, "Hey, is this Ryan Nemeth, the wrestler? Do you still live in Los Angeles?" And I said, "Hey, what's going on, Luke? It's Ryan, yeah." And he said, "I work at Jimmy Kimmel Live now. Would you be interested in being put up for a sketch role?" And I said, "Sure." And he just remembered me from a few years ago. I think he loved wrestling when he was a little kid. That's what it was. Yes, during that first commercial audition, he just had all these questions about wrestling. And, like, he wanted to know about Roddy Piper and Sting and, like, all these people from back then. And I guess he got this new job and said, let's see if Ryan can come in for it. And it was to be the Secret Service for Will Arnett. It was just some little bit part. He came out to be the guest, and I came out and, like, swept the room and was the bodyguard or whatever. But they thought I was nice, and they liked me, and I have a look, I guess, that's not common among comedic actors, which is, you know, what I look like, I guess. So they brought me back so many times. I've been in so many sketches on that show over the last couple of years, and they're so nice. So nice. Everyone from Jimmy to the security guards, it seems to be the friendliest operation I've ever, like, had anything to do with ever.
I don't know what you mean. That sounds incredibly glamorous to me. Like, that's awesome.
I love it.
Really remembered you from years prior. You left much of an impression on them, and they brought you back time and time again to be a part of the sketches. That's so cool.
It is pretty cool. I feel very lucky about that. And the last one I did before they stopped doing live shows for all this stuff was a sketch with, okay, so sometimes you don't know what you're going to go in for, right? And you just say either, like, am I available or am I not available? And part of you has a little ego that's like, well, if this isn't something special, I don't know if I want to do it. But I always say yes. Even if it's like, can you stand in the background while someone famous does something? I'll say, sure, whatever. So Luke, again, texted me and said, are you free tomorrow for maybe to be in this thing that might happen? And sometimes you say yes and you get it and they cancel a sketch. You show up there and just leave right away. So this one, he said it's a sketch with Fred Willard where you're going to play a cowboy with chaps on with your butt out. And I just said, yeah, I'll do that. And he texted back and said, you sure you will show your butt on national television? And I said, no problem. Yeah, sure, man. And that happened to be the most fun sketch I've ever done there. I didn't have any lines, and then Fred Willard during rehearsal, and this guy is a huge comedic hero of mine since I was a little kid, you know? This guy's so funny and amazing. And here he is just being perfect and, like, so quick and clever. And he says, hey, would it be all right if I asked you a couple questions? We kind of just play around and ad-lib a little bit. And I said, yeah, dude. I mean, I wanted to say, fuck yeah, but I was like, okay, sure, whatever you want, man. So I ended up getting a line, which means you get paid more, by the way, for the fans at home. But also to add a little verbal back and forth with Fred Willard is amazing. Sadly, that was the last time he was on TV, and then he passed away a few weeks later, which was, like, so heartbreaking and crushing, but it was a good, nice final. Like, that guy was the top of his game mentally. Of course, physically, when you're that old, your body is kind of frail and failing, but man, he was so sharp. He was doing different lines every time. Even when he went live, he, like, made up a bunch of lines that were making Jimmy Kimmel, like, laugh as he's interviewing him, or doing the sketch, I mean. It was so fun. I love doing stuff for that show, and I can't wait till we get back to it so I can get back in there.
Yeah.
And I love to bring in other people when they ask, do you know this? Do you know who has this kind of look? I'll always refer to people that I'm friends with, especially wrestlers, because sometimes they're very unique looks, you know, big beards and all that.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's so cool. I can't believe I didn't know that. I had seen pictures of it, but I hadn't seen it. Like,
well, sometimes I'm, like, wearing a moose head or something. Like, sometimes you don't know it's me, so it's not as glamorous as that final one was. But yeah.
Well, I feel like there's been oftentimes. I feel like I messaged you once a couple years ago. I was watching Hulu or something, and just popped up on my screen on a commercial somewhere.
Oh, Venmo, probably
Yeah,
Venmo. Maybe?
yeah, I think it was, and I couldn't. You just popped, like, I was like, oh, that's Ryan. What's he doing on Hulu? What are you doing on Hulu?
Nice.
But like, it's so cool. Like I said, you are absolutely everywhere.
Well, I try to be active.
Yes,
Try to be
you do that.
productive.
I can't imagine you having an actual 9 to 5 because I don't know how you would have any time to do anything else.
You know, when I was training to be a wrestler in the first place, when I was living in Cleveland and then also in Kentucky, I did have a job. And man, the whole time I was just pretending, all right, like I worked as a bank teller in Cleveland while I was trying to learn at AIW and whatever. And all day long, to get through the misery of having to be a bank teller, I would tell myself, just pretend to be a bank teller. Pretend this is just some big 8-hour joke. And so and that helped deal with it. I hated it.
Just playing a role at that point.
Just playing a little role, yeah. And one time they had me, I don't remember the terms for this, but they had me call their high-level, like, investment people to see if they can come back and invest. Like, I just set meetings for the financial investment guy. Why would I be doing that? So I went into some office and we're calling these people and doing pretty good at setting appointments. And my manager was like, whoa, this was kind of a like fake chore. Like no one ever books appointments. How are you doing so well at this? And I said, oh, I'm just pretending to be a banker. and she said, what do you mean pretending? I was like, I don't know, man. Like I'm just playing make believe and it's working a little bit.
Yeah. You were a better actor than you knew you were back then.
Apparently, if you're casting for the role of a bank teller, I would be happy to be honored.
Oh, he's got experience. He has experience. My 9 to 5 that I did, it was actually while I was in OVW in Kentucky. I was a receptionist at an insurance claims department of an insurance company.
Whoa.
It was terrible. It was the worst thing. Because one, you're talking to people on one of the worst days ever. Like
yeah.
Their house flooded or they got into a car accident or something like that.
Oh my God.
And I'm the first person that they would talk to. So not only am I sitting at a desk, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not something that I
screamed at or cried at or
yeah,
yelled at.
Every day. I was always the outlet where I could calm them down to send them to their adjuster. But yeah, it was just not something but it was money while I was running my cars into the ground.
You have to do something, man. Well, I was in OVW. My job was working at a gym as a personal trainer, and I thought it was so perfect because I would start at like 5 a.m. and go until noon, and then go wrestle on Saturdays and Sundays, I think, for training. Is that when it started? Whenever it started, I would be there. And then
Rip Rogers.
I would go to Rip Rogers class 2 days a week, the beginning class 3 days a week maybe, and then we had TV Wednesday, shows Friday and Saturday. But I would get all of my clients to come to the Wednesday night shows. So I was very bad at wrestling and very new to wrestling, but I was booked on every single show because there were people in the crowd with signs with my name on it. Like I was cheating the system big time. But Jim Cornette was writing the show at the time, and he would just come back. He would look at the crowd before the show started, come back and go, how do you have all these fans? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just must be like really likable, yeah. And so he just started, I'm too over, bro. Sorry.
That is awesome. Well, speaking of personal trainer,
right.
You wrote another book called Hard Body: How to Be One. Yes. So
Yes, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
All right. Hard Body is, I think, a fun nickname that I thought was funny about someone who's fit, in shape, good athletically, or whatever, what have you. But I started to think, Hard Body can apply to a number of different things. Maybe you are a screenwriter or a director, or maybe you're a great dog trainer. Like it could be any kind of discipline, but if you're like killing it or crushing it in that lane, I think you're a hard body. And so I wrote a book that was sort of a way to honor a lot of my friends in bodybuilding and wrestling and music, and then kind of explained the parallels between training your body and training your mind and training for a skill. and I thought there were just a lot of parallels to be found there, and I wanted to make it funny, and so that was where that came from. And it did quite well. I think it was a good time. I often think about doing a shorter, updated version of it, maybe.
Definitely should. So from what I've seen from the book, you kind of introduce people to working out who maybe aren't so comfortable with working out.
Yeah, basically.
Humor and everything like that, making it comfortable as opposed to this big, intimidating anomaly that they...
People are scared, yeah. They're nervous about gyms. It's loud. There's big beefcake people there. Yes. I grew up a very skinny, timid person, and everyone I knew was like top athletes. And so there's just a period of... Eventually you learn everybody's faking it, basically, you know? And then it doesn't matter. Once you mentally get past that barrier, it's like the end of the Matrix where you see all the numbers falling and you're like, I'm fine. This is fine.
I am definitely one of those people. I've always been nervous to go into a gym and like be transparent, as transparent as I am about not knowing what I'm doing. I genuinely don't. So I try to like give off the facade like, oh, I got this, but then I'll, not understand a machine or drop a weight and everybody looks at me and I immediately just want to leave. I just want to leave. So
I've been following your fitness journey for a couple of years now, at least online. You now have a state-of-the-art home facility.
And that's one of the things that I have been fortunate enough to have so that I don't encounter that gym intimidation. Or whatever you want to call it. But I still, it's one of those things that like I still struggle with if I'm at home working out with my friends that I know are very good at this and very knowledgeable about it. So I think it's very cool that you use humor and what you've learned with this book to kind of show people that, it's not that scary, that everybody's faking it and that nobody knows everything. Like there's just like in wrestling, like you're not going to know everything, like, ever. Like, you're still always going to be learning. There's always going to be new updates.
And there's no one way to do it. There's no single perfect way. Everyone's bodies are different, That was, like, during the height, in my opinion, of memes about fitness being, like, a war zone of, like, all right, guys, let's get serious. Go in there, take no prisoners. And I thought, that's not what's happening. You're working out. Shut up. It's not... There are people who are actually in war zones. Maybe think about them. Like, you're just doing some squats. Shut up, man. You know?
Calm down. Pump the brakes a little bit. I do know also, I've seen that you are the brand ambassador for Feed Me More Nutrition.
What a large resume you're presenting here.
You do pages of this. You're a busy man.
I am. I'm out there. Ryback was one of my great buddies when I was in FCW before NXT became what a confusing thing to have to explain. Back in Tampa when I was a wrestler, Ryback and I became buddies. We would go get burritos every Wednesday in promo day, I think. And I think we just kept in touch and been friends. I think we spent one Super Bowl together, him and me and my dad. I think hung out. But yeah, he has had tremendous success with the supplement company, and I'm excited about that for him. And he asked me to be one of the many faces of it. And I said, why the hell not, man? Sure. Could be, while he was developing all these supplements, I would get the trial versions of it. So I would get something in the mail that was like an unlabeled, like white container of powder. And I would just be like, all right, whatever this is, I'm going to have it. And I have to tell him, did you get sick? Did you have a good workout? Did it taste good? So it's nice to see how all these, the final form of all these supplements, because I was taking sometimes the not perfect version of it a couple years ago.
So you see what it's grown into.
Yes, it's nice to see, because sometimes like the flavor would be good, but then like you couldn't stop peeing or something, or like, or it'd be a great pre-workout, a lot of energy, but it tastes like, I don't know, disgusting. So it's nice to see things have kind of ended up nice and tasty and effective. Highly recommend using my promo code RYRY10, saving some money.
Pull up.
So many links.
So many links. There's a ridiculous amount of links in here, but anything that you guys want to get your hands on from this interview will be in the bio, so you can check.
Wow. This is like a red carpet treatment right now. Thank you.
You're welcome, of course. What I've also seen, the thing I noticed the most from your Instagram, obviously previous to the pandemic,
Yeah.
you were doing a lot of personal training and you were posting a lot of your clients and stuff on your Instagram in such a motivational way of showing how much they've grown and all of their progress that they were making. I did notice, I don't know if you're still doing this, but one thing that I saw was that you were doing Instagram Live workouts. Are you still doing that?
I kind of stopped doing that for the reason that you'll definitely understand. It was great. There's a lot of people engaging, but then like a lot of awful people just saying the worst things nonstop. And I don't want to let the trolls win, but in that case, I thought this is upsetting people who want to see this, and it's kind of weird, and I can't block every one of these profiles. So I put that on hold, yeah. But regarding the other thing you're saying, a lot of the people that I was working with in fitness were not top-level athletes. Some are. I train some of the Ring of Honor guys, Brody King and Bateman and some others, you know, and it's interesting to train them and then to train a stand-up comedian woman who's never worked out ever. But I have to say it's much more fun for me to take someone who doesn't have any experience and then in a few months they're like bragging about how much they can squat or deadlift. Like, that's so cool to me. We should celebrate accomplishments like that because they are real and it does translate to your brain. Hormones shoot out and like it makes you feel better. It makes your life better. Like, you know, overcoming challenges and getting good at something, even if it's small, medium, big, whatever. Yeah, you should celebrate that.
I think it is important for, like, because you're in the role of their trainer, like, to see that you are very proud of them, that some of these people, maybe they don't have somebody that's proud of them, like, oh, you know, you didn't eat fast food today, or, you know, you worked out for, you know, 30 minutes today, even though you didn't have much time. Like, the fact that you are proud of them, like, can only be more motivation, which I think is awesome. And like, again, you're spreading that positivity. On that note, if you were out there and you said stupid, mean things on his Instagram Live workout thing, you know what? The only people that you're hurting are the people that actually wanted to be better and to get better. So understand that that's the only purpose that you serve. So you know what? Right here is how I feel about you. And if you are going to go out there and spread that negativity, understand that you could be taking some really cool things away from the rest of the world. So just remember that next time you say something real shitty on the internet.
Ruby, these people can be channeling that energy into something positive for their own lives too. What a waste of time to go seek out. Just come on, there's other things to do.
There's so many other things to do, especially now. Like, that's the whole reason that I started this thing. I, for one, am horrified of social media. It scares me, and it also sometimes makes me sad. But I started this channel specifically so that I could try and use my platform. Like, I can't really complain about the bad things I see on social media if I'm not doing anything to change it. So that's why this channel was introduced in general, is because I just wanted.
That's beautiful.
I wanted to influence and spread any kind of positivity with the platform that I have.
I think that's really admirable and really beautiful, and that's what people should be doing out there, setting a great example. What a leader.
So you mentioned Brody King, that you did some personal training with him. I've also seen, I think it was recently that you posted this, I'm sure from one of your more recent shows prior to the pandemic. You have been doing a lot of improv and comedy, stand-up, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I'm up there. I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere, as we've established.
Everywhere.
But I've seen you do some skits with some wrestlers that people may know, Brody King, John Morrison, obviously your brother, Dolph Ziggler, and Colt Cabana. How is improv and like sketch comedy, how's the transition from pro wrestling to that? Like,
The very first thing I always think of is it doesn't hurt as much. because
That sounds
damn,
awesome.
wrestling hurts so much, doesn't it?
It really does.
And once things change, like in my area, and I start getting back in a ring for whatever reason I will, it's gonna hurt so much. Oh, I know what. I can tell you. Okay, I'm gonna give you. I'm in a show soon that'll be airing about wrestling that has already been. I have to give like a bunch of mysterious clues right now, but you'll see me soon on something. And it hurt. Just so much pain, and they bring you in and they're like, cool, can you do some wrestling? And like, of course, you and whoever is a professional, you're doing things. And the crew watching it will be like, oh my God, are you okay? Every take. They think you die every take. And really you're like, well, I know how to do this. But then afterwards, like, oh my God, it hurts so much. You have to pretend it doesn't though. So yeah, doing live comedy does not hurt as much. I have been involved with Second City and the Upright Citizens Brigade, every comedy club around here, and do a monthly show where I have a guest from either WWE or Ring of Honor or Lucha Underground, whatever, come host and tell stories about wrestling, and then the Second City cast or whoever will then use that material to make funny jokes and scenes and characters, and that's been a blast, and it's fun to combine those two worlds and have wrestling fans come to watch comedy, and comedy fans are there anyways going, what the hell, what a life you guys lead, where it's all about just traveling around and fighting each other, I guess. And having like people not from my era host the shows is so fun. Like Gangrel, like telling stories about how he broke into the business is so funny to me. And also my brother has a touring comedy variety show. We usually do shows around SummerSlam or WrestleMania, whatever city they're in. And then little mini tours here and there, and I go on those and help book those and perform characters on those. And those are so fun. Man, they're fun. It's so fun to travel to other cities and just perform. And if I can't do it wrestling, then in comedy. I just love, like you said, being an artist, man. Come on.
The idea of that, because I did like theater and stuff in college and in high school and everything, but like the idea of like improv scares the ever living hell out of me. Like you have to be like the bravest person I ever met, like to be able to do stuff like that. Like anybody who does that, that terrifies me. That idea.
I think you should be a special guest in one of our shows.
God, I would probably throw up beforehand if I did it. I was so nervous. Oh my goodness.
You could just throw up on stage.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well,
Oh, you'd be so good. You have to be, when things start going again, you gotta be in one of these shows somehow.
the idea that like just you have to be so quick on your feet, you have to be funny, or like if I like thought I was being funny and I would say something and then no one would laugh, like even stand-up comedy, any of that, like I would feel like everyone dies.
Well, the nice thing about improv or sketch is that you have a whole group of people that will, you know, if you feel like you're sinking, they all lift you up. There's ways to do that, but in stand-up, you're kind of on your own, man. That's why I'm not super into stand-up.
I've seen you do a couple things with stand-up.
Well, I like to stand up there and do things, but traditional go up there and tell jokes, I don't know, that's not for me.
Not a thing that so you definitely prefer the improv and sketch comedy to it.
I like improv or sketch, or if I can go up and be a character, so that way if it bombs, it's the character bombing, not me, you know? I think with your theater background, maybe you hop on one of our shows and do like a little monologue from Shakespeare.
Okay.
That'd be good. People would like to see that other side of you.
All right. I would see. I might be able to do something like that, but the idea of it just gives me my heart starts beating too fast.
Don't get nervous. It's not happening right now.
Half to death. But I do imagine that there is some correlation with wrestling and improv.
Well, sure.
Acting.
You've been in matches where when things go off the rails, or suddenly someone can't see because there's blood in their eyes, or someone got knocked out, like you have to take charge and decide ad-lib, you know? It's similar to that, except less blood and less pain.
Less pain.
Just things you're quick on your feet, like you said.
My whole life with wrestling. I involuntarily added the pain to it.
Yeah, you walk into a ring and say, beat the shit out of me, please. And thank you very much. I'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, well, so is there anything else as far as the many hats that you wear? Is there anything else that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I am working on some things. I don't know if you guys watched AP Bio, but there's an episode this upcoming season. You love that show?
Yes, I love that
Awesome.
show. Yes.
I will only tell you that there is an episode about wrestling that will be very fun to watch, I think. Woody, who's your favorite on the show? Or do you just like it all around?
I like it all around, and I want to make sure, because I watched the whole first season. I don't think I've seen the second season. They've only had one season out, right?
They've had two, but the third one is going to be on Peacock streaming. So
I started watching that. This and I'm gonna double check because I watched it quite a while ago, but I loved it, and it is the one with the guy from Always Sunny.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So I could not remember a character's name, but I just remember I started watching that just because Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one.
Sure, yeah. So that show, here's how all these things connect, which is so fun for me. The creator of that show is someone that before I was a wrestler, when I lived in Chicago and would do improv and stuff, I used to see him perform every night and thought he was so funny. But Mike O'Brien, so he used to write for SNL. He was briefly a featured cast member, I think, but he created that show, and I thought it was so good. The feeling you just described when you watch it, and it's just like, this is different and funny, and like high school kids, nerdy high school kids are so funny, and this guy who hates being there. So anyways, I'm friends through Second City and comedy stuff. We have a lot of mutual friends, me and the creator. And he messaged me one day and said, hey, we're thinking about doing an episode on wrestling. Would you want to come into the writer's room and just talk to us for a few hours? And I was like, yeah, dude, I love this show so much. I would love to have anything to do with this. So I came in one day, talked to him for a couple hours, and then you said goodbye. And I was like, all right, I hope that helps, whatever. And then a few weeks later, one of the executive producers calls, and she says, hey, would you be interested in just being a consultant for this episode, and we'll credit you, and that'll be like your job on this show, like help coordinate stunts, find us wrestlers, help with wardrobe, help find us a ring, every category you can think of, basically with all the wrestling stuff. Can you just do all that for this episode? And I was like, yes, definitely. I don't care. I'm in, definitely, for sure. And it was so fun. You're gonna love this episode so much.
God.
I want to spoil a big surprise for you, but I won't. It's so good. It's so fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. No, like I said, I've only seen the first season, and it was right when it came out. So I need to refresh up. I will actually probably start watching the second season today.
Nice. Great. So that's exciting. And then other than that, I'm just hoping that film festivals resume at some point and we can have a big old American premiere for Heel. Your film that you produced, Heel.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait for it to come out. I am so excited to see what you've done with this. Like I said, in this time that is it's a very difficult time, but there's a lot of things that need to be talked about so that we can shed some light on some tough issues. So those issues no longer happen, and I really think that your movie is going to do just that.
I hope you're right.
So I'm very excited. I'm very honored to be on the list of producers that you have there. So
that's a very prestigious list.
I'm honored, and so thank you so much for including me in that. And I'm going to leave this with one question. Recently, you tweeted that you love to prank. Now, what is the best prank that you've ever pulled?
Oh man, I know the answer, but if I tell you, then a lot of people are gonna find out that it was a prank. So let's see.
You don't have to do that one, or the most recent one. What are your favorite ones that you can share with us?
All right, this one I have to use this one. Damn. Well, I'll apologize to my former coworkers who will see this and be very betrayed or feel very betrayed. So I'm so happy about this prank, man. I love prank. When someone gets me with a prank, I'm excited. I think it's so funny. It's the most fun thrill. Okay, so when I got to FCW, NXT precursor place, Dr. Tom Pritchard was my boss, head trainer. And pretty quickly, he was like taking me under his wing. I think he saw something a little different in me. And he gave me all these DVDs of Andy Kaufman matches and promos and everything. And he said, I think you need these. And I said, okay, cool. And I just studied those for weeks. And got me really, really fired up, you know. And I wanted to, for me, promo day was the best day of the week because you could invent new characters, try out new ways of performing things. I don't know, that whole aspect of it was very cool to me. And I was dipping my toes into the water of like, I want the people that I'm working with to not know if what I'm doing is real or not. So I would do like minor little things, like innocent things, or like things that go a little bit off the rails, like maybe the microphone wouldn't work, or like very not really entertaining things. But I would think, okay, I can kind of trick people if I like manipulate, think like a magician a little bit, sort of. So I had this really like evil plan that took weeks to put into action. So, oh man, I'm turning red thinking about this. So there were at the time things called divas, which is female wrestlers, the antiquated term. So I asked a few of the women that I worked with, I said, hey, in 2 weeks, it's going to be, promo day falls on my great-grandmother's birthday, which is such a coincidence, and she is obsessed with wrestling. Do you think, I said, would you help me go up there and, like, do a little happy birthday thing for her during promo day? Like, we can record that and give it to her. And they were like, hell yeah, dude, that's so nice. Oh, my God, that's so nice. And so I bought a helium tank and all these balloons, and it was spent all night in Tampa in my apartment, like filling up a bunch of balloons. And I asked the tech guy who ran promo day back then, like weeks ahead of time, I said, I want to do this plan to do something really special with my grandma. Plus it'll be a nice fun promo. And he's like, I think that is really kind of you and it's gonna be very fun. And I was like, cool. But at the time technology was not what it is now. So I wanted to get my phone to connect to the sound system in the building, which is probably super easy at the performance center, but we didn't have that. We had wires, and I don't think I even had an iPhone at that point. Maybe I did. So a lot of people involved in this without knowing what I was really gonna. So a lot of people were counting on like, hey, next Wednesday, your grandma. I'm like, I know, I'm so excited. You know, she's gonna never see this coming. So I wanted to call her during the promo and record it and say happy birthday with all the ladies. And they all dressed so nice, and I put a little suit on, and Dusty Rhodes was in charge at the time, and he said, all right, Briley, what do you got for us today? And I said, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Thanks everyone for helping me out. And I'm like pretending to be really nervous and sweaty. I was sweaty because hot, but I was like just like kind of pacing around all day, like, this is a big deal, man. It's my grandma. She's turning 89 or whatever the age was. And I sound tested the phone and everything. Ruby, I'm sorry, this is a long story. But
no, I'm very excited. I'm excited to hear the payoff.
So I gathered all the girls, and I was like, okay, so we're going to probably go, like, next. And, you know, they're all ready. Like, this is so great. We're just going to sing happy birthday. And what's her name? And I was like, her name is, I forgot what fake name I made up, but yeah, there's no grandma. So we went up there, and I said, Dream, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to call my great-grandmother to nursing home. It's connected. We did the sound test. It all works. Like, there's an actual wire to the phone connected. It's probably Bluetooth now. I don't know. So he says, all right, this sounds great. You know, let's do it. It's something different. Great. And he said, how long do you need? And I said, well, I don't know. We'll see. He's like, all right. So I'm, like, nervously looking at the girls, like, you ready? They're all holding balloons. Like, I don't know why I went over the top of these balloons. So many balloons. And they're all in, like, very fancy dresses, and I'm dressed up, and I call, and it's ringing over the arena sound system. It's ringing. And somebody answers in a voice I don't recognize and says, you know, Normandy assisted living, whatever. And I said, yeah, I need to talk to Patricia Wendling in room 312. I thought I called the right number. And he puts me on hold, and I'm sitting there, like, nervous, and the girls are on, like, it'll be okay. And I'm like, yeah, but why didn't you go right to her room, you know? And the camera guy's like, should I turn it off? I'm like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And I started turning a little bit red, and he comes back on and says, are you a relative of Patricia Wendling? And I said, yeah, I'm her grandson. And he says, I can only give you information if you're the next of kin. And I said, what do you mean next of kin? My dad? And he's like, who is this? I mean, how are you related to her? I said, I'm her grandson. I'm calling her to say happy birthday. What is the problem? Put her on the phone. And he puts me on hold again. And by now, the diva that's standing next to me are like what? Like this, you know? And the place is dead silent. It's very uncomfortable. And he comes back on the phone and he says, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but your grandma suffered a pretty serious stroke, and we're trying everything we can right now, but we don't know if she's gonna be stable or whatever the doctor's terminology was. And I said, what? Are you kidding me? Is this a joke? Are you messing with me? And the guy goes, Mr. Nemeth, I'm not joking with you or whatever. And I yanked the thing out of the phone, the sound system thing, and it goes, poof, you know, one of those. And I started crying and leave the building. Walked out of the arena and walked to my car. I just started walking down the street, I think. And so those girls were just standing up there, and everyone is just pretty uncomfortable. And then one of my other bosses comes out of the building, looks at me, and he walks over to me and he says, you know, if your grandma really suffered a stroke, you should probably go home right now, right? And I said, yeah. And he says, because that's what you would really do if that really happened, right? And I said, I want to go home, man. See you later. And I just drove home. So I think this one guy was very aware that I was doing a very mean prank, but no one else was. And my roommate at the time, who was Damien Sandow, instantly drove home to find me. He was like, is everything okay? Do you need to fly home? What's going on? And like Dusty's assistant called me and said, if you need to fly home, we understand, no problem. We're all very upset. And I started to feel like, oh, this is a little bit mean, but so funny to me. So that's my best prank ever. And
Did you ever tell anyone that it was a prank, or did they just believe it?
a few weeks later,
People?
pretty much everyone believed that. And Dr. Tom did not, because he gave me all those Andy Kaufman materials, and he was like, oh, I did this. This is my fault. I caused this to happen, basically. But a few weeks, like maybe months later, John Moxley or Dean Ambrose at the time came up to me at practice, and he said, hey, man, I just want to let you know, some people are saying that you like made that shit up, dude. And I told him, it's like, that's not cool. It's not cool to say, dude. I hope she's doing all right. And I said, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And then I started to feel kind of bad about it. So this is why I'm telling you this, but I feel really guilty about it.
Right. So there are people out there that believe this is actually happening.
I would like to formally apologize to all those that I have misled. And I can only say that it's Dr. Tom's fault for influencing me.
Influencing you, Andy. Oh, so, my Lanta.
Yeah, that was probably my best prank ever. But
pranks beat like all of FCW.
Yeah.
And still probably continue to do it to this day, because most people probably don't know that.
Yeah, and like when I see people I used to work with, for I do sometimes time to time, it might once in a while come up, and it comes up in this way of like, damn, dude, that was like so rough. That was such bad timing, man. We're so sorry. And I'm like, thanks, thank you.
You still keep going with it?
If I reveal it to them, then they're gonna just hate me. I'm walking a fine line here.
We just revealed it on this channel.
Yeah, it's groundbreaking. This is part of the reason why I try to do so much positivity and contribute to charities and do good in the world, because I just have this horrible guilt hanging over me from FCW.
From that day, where you were kind of a shithead.
When I made everyone think that my grandma had a massive stroke. I made sure to not say she died, though. I made sure to take it one.
That's too far. That part
would be
too far.
Yeah. But I walked out in the middle of the promo crying, like kicked the door open and like took off. I really sold it.
You're not.
I hope that was the kind of answer you were looking for.
That was not the answer I expected, but I'm grateful for you sharing that with me.
Ruby, I've been a fan of yours forever. I love everything you're doing, and I'm so honored that you brought me on your very famous show.
Oh, nice, thanks.
Well, I am glad that we met that day in Ybor City with all the chickens.
Chickens.
Since we do love dogs, and that's what this month is about. This month is Day Live.
Hey, dog. Oh, man, I remember these ears. How are your little ears so big?
He's like Yoda. Right. He wants to go and say,
Do you hear that? Can you hear that with your ears?
Let's take this mindset overseas.